Hey guys, it's Bridget. Today on Pinkies Up, I learned if I can tell the difference between this $15 bottle and this $50 bottle of wine. It's important to know if it matters if you spend a little more money or not, and I tasted them all and figured out the answer to that question on this month's episode of Pinkies Up.
Welcome to Pinkies Up, a series where we answer questions normal wine drinkers like Bridget have about wine. I'm Nick, and I'm here to answer these questions in a way that makes sense, whether you drink your wine with your pinky up or you drink it in a solo cup. Let's see what's going on this month.
Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of Pinkies Up. We are so glad you're here. Nick, you don't look silly like I do. This is a brand new thing we are doing. It's part of our Dinner Plus Drink series, but we're going to be releasing this once every month on Wednesdays for you to enjoy. And we're going to answer some questions that regular people ask about wine. So, Nick, what are we talking about this week?
Well, first of all, I love your fanciness.
Oh, yes, thank you.
I love your fanciness.
This is normal.
You seem like the person that would be all hoity-toity about wine.
Yeah.
But you're not really.
No, I'm just a normal person. Can't you tell?
You like red wine a lot.
I do. I love it. It's my
but
favorite.
white wine in the summer too.
Yep, when it's hot out.
Rosé, bubbles especially.
Bubbles always.
I am somebody that really loves wine. We like to store wine. We like to sell our wine. I'm also our wine buyer at the store. So I get the chance to try a lot of wine, go to wineries, meet winemakers, grape growers, all sorts of things. So I have a pretty decent knowledge of wine. And I always struggle with, I'm kind of a wine geek, and I don't want to make wine scary or unapproachable. And I always try to make sure that when someone comes to me and is looking for a bottle of wine to enjoy with their meal, whether it's they have a budget for $10 or $100, that I give them an answer that's something normal people could do. So if you're drinking Pinkies Up or just like a normal person, it doesn't really matter. So one of the questions I get the most from customers is, wow, that bottle of wine's $50. Is it really worth it? I think you have that question sometimes, right?
I do, yeah, because I don't often drink $50 bottles of wine unless, Nick lets me try them. But that's not what we normally buy at home. So I do wonder the difference between if I just buy my, $12 bottle versus 30 or 50 or above. What's the difference?
We're going to test it out. We're going to see normal wine drinker, someone that I'm not trying to make you sound like an alcoholic, but you do drink a good amount of wine.
I like red wine.
You like red wine. If you can tell what we have 4 bottles of wine, brown bagged. Mm-hmm. 2 of them are the same price point, and there's 3 price points represented here. $15, $30, and $50.
Okay.
So like a very nice special bottle, a kind of like treat yourself bottle, and then just an everyday bottle.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. So
okay.
We have these in order. I'm going to pour them for you. These are all Cabernet Sauvignons from California, Cabernet Sauvignon being the grape. Mm-hmm. They have a little bit of other grapes blended in, but at least 80% Cabernet in all these. So I'm not trying to, screw you up with that.
And for those of you that are new, Cab is my favorite. So this should, in theory, be easy for me, but don't judge me if it's not.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to pour you a little bit of each wine.
Okay.
Just write down your notes, say what you think about each one. And at the end, we're going to have you pick which wines you think were 15, which were 30, which were 50. We'll reveal what they are. And I'll kind of share a little bit about why I think maybe you thought they were the price they were and what makes them that price they were, so that everybody listening can understand if it's worth it for you to go and buy a more expensive bottle, and to also understand some things that go into wine pricing, because a $100 bottle of wine isn't 100% more expensive to make than a $50 bottle of wine. But there are some things that go into it. So we'll go into that a little bit too. So a little bit of geeky, but also trying to make it simple.
Normal people here. I'll be giving you the normal people comments, so don't expect anything too crazy from me. But just to clarify, 4 bottles, 2 of them will be there might be 2 $50 bottles. Or $2.30 or $2.15.
You hope it's $2.50.
I'm so stressed out. No, I'm so stressed out.
Because we have to do 2, because it'd be too easy if it was, just one of each.
Shall I drink with my pinky up?
You're drinking out of a teacup.
Yes,
I'm drinking out of a hydro flask for wine, which is a great invention. Cheers, Bridget.
Pinkies up.
Pinkies up.
Okay, I can't drink with my pinky up all the time. Okay. Sorry, I need to do this again. I was laughing about my pinkies too much.
Always judge on the second sip, too. You got to prime the palate a little bit, because you're not ready for this.
Okay, this one tastes dry on the finish, which is not for the record, everybody, it's not normally, I wouldn't sit around discussing with my friends if it tastes dry on the finish. But I have learned more about wine in my time here. And it's honestly, that's the most notable thing to me. It tastes a little fruity and dry at the end. I mean, it's that easy, right?
There's like nice green olive stuff on the end, like that kind of tamponade that
I am taking notes here, guys.
good Cabernet would have.
Okay. Don't give anything away here,
Yeah,
Nick.
nice fruit. Dry finish. I definitely agree with you. It's a good dry finish. Mm-hmm. Very long lasting.
So when, we're going to talk through this series about like what we can, I just want to know, like, tell me what wine did.
This is a great steak wine.
And this is exactly what I was thinking.
These are all really very good steak wines. I try to pick things that were kind of in the same style. I didn't want to go, Australian Cabernet is better with barbecue than California Cabernet oftentimes, but we want to make this simple. Can you figure out the price points?
Okay.
Not trying to make you look bad.
Oh, I need to finish this, huh?
I should have maybe.
I feel like we need a dump bucket.
We can get a dump bucket. Would you like one?
One of those nice solo cups right there. Because we're all about mixing the class here with the regular people. Okay, this is what we're going to do because I'm a responsible adult.
Got to pick up your kid soon.
I do.
All right.
I'm going to wear this. Should I wear this for pickup?
I think you should. Bottle number 2.
I just wanted an excuse to be able to wear these fun hats for you guys. So that's why Pinkies Up was developed. Okay, thank you. Should I always drink out of my teacup?
I think it's a good drinking vessel for wine. We're big onto plastic cups. We like plastic cups for wine, like plastic wine glasses, because you can dishwasher them without feeling bad.
Oh,
and they don't break with children around.
I am quite picky, actually, about my drinkware. As you can tell, I'm drinking out of a teacup.
All right, so this is bottle number 2. What do you think of this?
I don't, I have a thought on this one already. Okay, it's not as dry, is what I have to say about this.
Yeah, it's got a little bit more kind of like red cherry to me.
Yeah, I mean, I still taste fruit. It does not feel as like, here's my classy word for you all, girthy. It doesn't feel as bold as the first one to me.
Not as girthy, so not as wide, is what you're saying. Because there's length and girth.
Nick went there. Ooh, I think your comment about sipping it, judging as future sips is changing what I have to say. So,
I think that's an interesting observation. That's a good way to think of wine. Oftentimes, is it has a length of you experience it different on the front, middle, and some wines you're going to have more on the front end, some on the back end. So it's always
I
good
don't
to
know a
observe
lot
that.
about like the taste on the front end, to be honest, and how that goes into the discussion about the bottle of wine. Because you always hear people say like a dry finish or a fruity finish.
Well, and a lot of what you taste, you don't really taste, you smell. Because there's not very many things you can taste, but you smell a lot of things. So a lot of the stuff is in the aroma, and then you associate the aroma with the taste.
I will
So
say
that's kind of what's up front.
they have definitely gotten better. Like the first sip of both of them were a little like I wasn't prepared, right?
No,
and
not
they're
at all.
none of these two so far are bad wines. These are wines I would drink again. Nick, I feel like I'm really nervous about being able to judge these.
You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. This is all that blind wine tasting's about. It's deductive reasoning. One was a little drier. One had a little bit more red fruit.
I know, but I think that were you just going to pour me?
Pour it in the dump cup.
Yes, everybody. We're not. If I'm drinking this, we're in trouble. Please set it on my saucer, Nick. Thank you, kind sir.
Wine number 3.
This is a fancy establishment. Okay, wine number 3. I'm a note taker, everybody, and I need to do this when I'm trying to figure out what's what here. I will say maybe this is a future episode, but the discussion of the swirling and the smelling, I think, is maybe something that's a little.
That was really gross to hear. Sorry.
I think that's something that's a little intimidating to people who are newer to wine. Like, am I supposed to swirl this? Like, do I have to smell it, or what do I do?
So swirling it definitely helps get the aromas into the top of the glass into your nose. And you want to get aromas because, like I said, you can't taste that many things, but you can smell a ton of things. Mm-hmm. So swirling around, and that's why glasses you don't pour to the top. Wisconsin.
I mean, it depends what bar
Every
you're
supper
at.
club in the world. Please don't
It's
pour
up to
my
you.
wine glass to the top. So swirling gets some of that aroma out so you can smell more.
This one is so different to me, like significantly different tasting. But I can't like nail what it is. It's not as fruit forward to me.
I get a little bit more fruit throughout. I get more like currant.
Maybe it's a fruit I'm not familiar with.
Yep.
Is rather what it is.
I always, one of these episodes will probably do, can you write the most pretentious tasting notes possible for a wine? And
Nick will win.
some winemakers really go over the top with their pretentious tasting notes. I was talking to a guy from Burgundy, France once. His name was Nico.
It's a great name.
And so Nico and Nick. And
Nico and Nick.
excellent English, but very strong French accent and very leans into the French part of himself, which is, good when you're a foreigner here selling foreign wine. I want to buy French wine from a French guy, so play with the French stuff. And I said, Nico, I don't understand how you get rose out of this Pinot Noir. I said, Nick, you know what a rose smells like? You know it smells like this? Close your eyes. Dissociate yourself from your vision, and you know it smells like a rose.
Well,
Great advice. Just dissociate yourself from what you're seeing. It doesn't look like currants, but you know what currants smell like.
I've never had a currant. Is that weird?
You live in Wisconsin. There's currants on the side of every road. Pull over and eat some.
I mean, I literally don't think I could pick out what a currant is.
It's a really juicy, but also bitter red fruit.
I mean, it just looks like a berry.
So think about like a gusher, like a cherry gusher.
Perfect.
Like the sour cherry gusher. Where you bite into it and you get like that.
I've never eaten a currant.
Like cherry, sugary cherry.
Oozing
and then
cherry.
ooh, this is bitter. That's a currant.
Sounds delicious.
All right. Wine number 4.
I'm nervous about this, you guys. I'm second guessing my decisions. I feel like I needed to maybe have a saltine in between each of these. What's the appropriate palate cleanser if you want to do an at-home wine tasting? I mean,
water.
Seriously?
Yeah, water.
I mean, that was meant to be a serious
Water.
question.
A little cracker if you want, but water.
Guess I should have had my water. Sorry.
Also, more wine is obviously going to help you because it keeps what you talked about with the second sip, you're getting shocked by alcohol and tannin on your tongue every time.
Mm-hmm.
So water takes all that off. So you're going to experience shock every time you wash it. Whereas if you always have,
Okay.
it's kind of like painting, If you always have, if you sand it down, you have to prime it again. But if you paint on top of paint, the paint adheres still. So this is bottle number 4.
I'm so nervous to guess these things. I have to tell you
It's okay if you don't know, because if they don't taste that different, then you know one thing. If they taste super different, you know another thing.
Different to me. Like this one tastes significantly different, but I can't obviously if I've never eaten a currant, I can tell you one, was more fruity on the front, a little drier on the finish, but I can't nail what would make it more expensive.
We'll get into that.
Okay. I'm waiting and waiting.
All right. So I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you, did you have a favorite?
The first one.
The first one was your favorite.
Yep.
Okay. And why was that?
It was bolder. It felt bolder to me. I don't know if it actually was, but I knew when I drank it that it would taste good with steak.
Wonderful. So how much do you think that one was? Your choices are $15, $30, or $50.
I think it was the $50 one.
Okay. So wine number 1 was the $50 one. Or it could have been 2 $50 ones.
I could have, yeah.
Or it could have been no $50 ones. Did I actually do that to you? No. All right. Wine number 2. How much did you think wine number 2 was?
Wine number 2 was 15.
All right. Why did you think that one was $15?
Because it felt not as girthy to me. And for whatever reason in my head, that to me feels like it's watered down, which I believe that's not true, but in my head, that's where I would go. Is if don't give me a cab that tastes like water. And it didn't. It didn't taste like water, but it just was as compared to number 1.
Excellent.
More watery.
Wine number 3.
15.
15. All right. How much? Why did you think that one was 15?
I don't have. It just wasn't my favorite one.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Wasn't
don't have
your
a
favorite?
great reason.
Okay.
But I thought the last one was 30. So
Last one
in
was
my
30.
head, I mean, honestly, really, these two are probably both 30. But this is what I wrote down initially, and I'm trying to go with my
How would
gut.
I trick you? I know. Now you got to outthink yourself.
I know this is the problem. So I just went with my gut that was written down. Otherwise, I will play this game all day.
All right. So as the reveal, should we go 1, 2, 3, 4, or should we go? Which you thought was 15? Was it 15? What you thought was 50? Was it 50?
Let's go that way.
All right. So we'll start with
Oh my God.
wine number 2, which you thought wasn't very girthy.
Not very girthy. I wrote down not as girthy, not as dry. But this is my problem is I just compared it to number 1.
So this is Matthew Fritz North Coast Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's $15.
Oh, yay! Okay, the other thing is, guys, we should say why we put brown bags on is you can tell by label, sometimes, not always, but you can tell by labels, bottle quality, things like that. Sometimes regular people like me can tell sometimes.
And packaging is a big expense. Like,
Yeah.
it definitely adds to what the bottle costs. So Matthew Fritz is a great producer. This one is, I think it's really over delivers for $15.
All of these I would drink again. Let me be clear.
This one, it's $15 because if you see it says North Coast on it. So that means it gets fruit from a lot of different counties in Northern California, Napa, Sonoma, Lake, Mendocino.
Okay.
Land's not very expensive in Mendocino compared to Napa. So they save a lot of money on the grapes. Then
When you get grapes from multiple places, is that generally less desirable than one single?
generally less desirable.
Okay. Great.
And what you tasted with the less girthy, less oak in it, less oak aging. So oak barrels are very expensive. If you're buying a new French oak barrel, that'll cost you $700 to $1,000. So it's very expensive. This doesn't have a lot of that. It gives it a little less weight to it and makes it, a little less expensive. So if you like that less heavy style of wine, usually buying a more expensive Cabernet, you're going to get more oak, and that means you're not going to like it. So save the money.
That's a great. I never realized that's what made it like bold and okay. Great tip, Nick.
All right. So next we have wine number 3 that you also thought was $15.
I'm not settled on this
And
one.
you didn't necessarily like this one.
It
This
wasn't.
one is
Oh my god.
Duckhorn, which is actually our $50
Our $50 bottle. Wow. And that wasn't my favorite.
So that was your
Funny.
least favorite, and you thought it was 15.
Look at me,
But
guys.
it was 50. And why did you think it was 15? You said you just didn't like it.
I just didn't love it. I honestly would have to. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try it again.
Taste again. Now
Yep.
that you know it's $50.
Yeah, and I didn't write down much with this besides that it wasn't as fruit forward. But is it like okay to say that I like a little more fruit forward, but also bold?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's one of the things that comes out of doing this is this wine isn't going to be as fruit forward. It's got more secondary and tertiary characteristics. So
Yeah. Now, like, it's still bold enough for me, right? Like, it's still got that girth, if you will, which is something I really like.
this has got
my
more of that
wine.
like green olive tapenade. It's got more kind of cedar. So this has got a lot more. So this is $50 because this is Napa Valley fruit. And Napa Valley fruit's expensive. It's a brand name. Duckhorn's a brand name. So they can charge a premium for that.
I knew as soon as you took it out of the bag that this was the $50. I
you
know
bring
the
this
brand.
to a party.
Yep.
And people are going to know you brought a nice bottle of wine. And you're going to pay a little premium for that, you know?
Oh, that's important to some people.
That's kind of how it goes. The bottle, heavy glass, big punt on the bottom here, the little hole here. It's called a punt. People think a big punt means it's very expensive.
Yeah.
So, but that's expensive because think about how to make a glass bottle that has a huge hole in the bottom, more or less.
Can I tell you now that I'm drinking it? This is hard to explain, but on the end, it kind of goes like almost like a little,
Yeah,
gives a little
that's
zing.
a lot of tannin.
So-
a lot of tannin, and it gets that from the oak, which
So
is
that's
expensive.
what I don't love, which is interesting. I
So-
like the bold, but I don't love the tannin on the end.
Yeah, so a lot of more expensive wines are going to have that. This is also made to be able to age for a while. So there's some more acidity left in it with the thought of if somebody wants to hold on to this for 4 or 5 years, it'll mellow out a little bit.
I think that is a piece of this that like definitely I don't collect wine in this way. I just don't. It's something maybe if I was more educated about a few years back, I would have started. So generally more expensive bottles better for aging.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So honestly, that's probably why I haven't ventured into that very much because it's not, I don't save bottles of wine. I drink them usually that week.
You and 99.5% of people.
Oh man.
All right, so wine number 4, you thought this one was $30.
Yes.
And this one, if I can get it open. This one is Postmark,
15.
also by the Duckhorn Wine Company, and this is $30.
It is. Oh, yay.
So good job. You got that
wow.
one right.
So this is hilarious. Okay. Interesting.
So what I think is very interesting and why I wanted to taste this one after Duckhorn and try it again, you can actually...
Yeah. So wait, this was number 3?
Yep.
Okay.
So, no, this was the last one.
Oh, this was the last one. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So you can actually taste a lot of similar qualities, I think, between the fruit and kind of like the olive notes and some of the cedar notes on the end.
Okay.
Because this is same winemaking company, same winemaking group.
I like this one. So wait, explain. This is a Duckhorn wine.
So this is
but
a great way. I want to do this because I want to give a tip of look for second labels of wine.
Yeah.
So this is all of the expertise of the Duckhorn Wine Group, but it's their B+ fruit. It's not their A fruit,
Still pretty good.
and it's their B plus wine cooperage program. So not as much new oak, meant to be drank earlier, and it's $20 less money.
Okay, but that's a great, so this is a Bridget wine, right?
Yep.
Like I can drink this for my dinner party in a week.
It's meant to be a very nice bottle. I love this wine.
Yeah.
I think for $30, it's a heck of a deal.
I know, I should have maybe
So
swapped it.
still
but-
Napa Valley fruit, still great quality. This is 2018 vintage year instead of 2016. So you're going to get more of that big, bold fruit that you like.
Sure.
And it's just a really nice value. So that's another tip I'd
this.
say. If you're looking for something that is a really great wine, ask at your wine store, ask at your restaurant, whatever. If you like Duckhorn, if you like, Inglenook, if you like some of these bigger wineries, say, hey, is there anything else that winery makes that's maybe a little less money, or does their winemaker have a side project? Because you'll get kind of the same style, but a lot less money.
Does it say on the front?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, Duckhorn Wine Company. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So they have
awesome.
decoy, they have Pinot Noir programs.
Yep.
So
Love it.
great way to save some money.
That's a great tip. This one's great. I mean, I'm re-drinking it again. To me, worth the $15 difference between the Matthew Fritz here and the Postmark.
And then the last one that you thought was $50
Was 15. Oh, rookie.
This is Bueller Vineyards, and they're Napa Valley, and this one's $30.
Oh, so I've had this one, I think, a while back.
Yep, we had their White Zinfandel, which is
Wait, I'm
lovely.
sorry. This one's 30.
Yep,
oh,
that
so we had
one's
two
30.
30. Oh,
Yep,
okay.
we did two 30s.
I wasn't terribly off.
No, you were not at all.
Okay, great.
So
Makes me feel better.
This is definitely the driest of the bunch.
Okay, yep.
John Bueller makes this. It's a still very old school traditional Napa winery. Very sustainable. This one's lower alcohol than the others.
Oh, why?
This one's more acidity. The way he harvests the grapes,
Okay.
It's more. He's going for more acidity and more kind of traditional fruit freshness.
Okay.
As opposed to big, bold, jammy fruit. So you're going to get more of that kind of green olive and stuff like that on the end than you would get from something that has. This is 14.1%. The other at least 14.5. I'm sure.
So that was the first one I tried.
Yep.
Yep. Fruity and dry on the end and smooth.
And
is what I
Bueller
wrote.
does some single vineyard stuff, estate stuff that's more expensive, but this is just their Napa Valley that they buy some of the fruit from other growers.
Okay.
So again, if you like Bueller, John is one of the very respected OGs of Napa.
A good guy to buy wine from.
Yeah, good guy. It's a family winery,
Yep.
very committed to sustainability, which I love. Look for his Napa Valley instead of his estate,
Oh,
and
that
you can save
helps.
some money.
Yeah.
Yep.
So these, I mean, the $30, here's what I've learned. The $30 bottles were my favorite. I would drink any of these again, but honestly, I think the $50 one I chose this as my least favorite. But you can spend $30, I think, be still impressive at a dinner party. That you have spent more than $12 on your bottle of wine or $15.
And I'll tell you right now, as someone that buys a lot of wine, drinks a lot of wine, tries a lot of wine, the best things are really happening at the $30 price point in terms of price to value.
Yeah.
The $10 price point is getting kind of
Yeah.
low quality. You
can really tell
especially
that
from
once-
California. The $15 price point, you'll get a good wine, but you used to be able to buy that for $10.
Yep.
$30 used to be a price point where people didn't really make great wine. But now there's some really great bottles at that price point that I would say spend that instead of $40 or $50 in all honesty.
Yeah.
In most cases.
And you guys should know, I knew nothing about this. So we are friends. We work together. We did not discuss any of this. And I'm genuinely have learned a couple things even about my own wine taste by just sitting here having a normal conversation about it. Nick will get lost in telling me about vineyards and things that are great, but not necessarily helpful
don't
to me,
really matter.
honestly. Yeah, so this
They
to
do
me,
matter.
they do matter, but this to me is so helpful to know I can bring a bottle of $30 wine over to my friends. We can have it with a really great
To your
steak.
in-laws, they'll love it.
To my in-laws, and I can have it and enjoy it with a really great steak. And I know now what I don't love a lot of tannins on the back end of my wine.
So can you tell the difference between a $15 and a $50 bottle of wine?
15 and 50, no.
But
Not. In retrospect, sure. You can tell a difference between 30 and 15 more than I could 50 and 15.
and the $50 bottle will start showing more as it ages and more as you have it open. Like if we taste
Right.
this again in an hour, it's going to be a different experience.
Yeah.
But it's a wine made for a different occasion.
It is. And I think that's the thing to know right now is you don't have to buy the most expensive bottle to be the most impressive.
All right, so that's what we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed watching. We hope you learned something. We have all these wines for sale at Lake Geneva Country Meats if you're interested in trying them for yourself. They're also available online from the producers and at a lot of different stores. So I highly recommend this as a fun activity with your friends. If you're doing a socially distant thing, brown bag some stuff and say, hey, can you tell, is this one $10 or $20? Whatever price points you want to do. I wouldn't do $5 wines.
Probably not necessary.
Not necessary.
Not if you are an adult.
But thank you for watching. This is something we're going to do every month as part of our Dinner Plus Drinks podcast. We have this on YouTube and on our podcast feed.
And you can drink with your pinkies up or not and have fun while you're doing it. Have a little conversation and enjoy a great glass of wine.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.